Hare Krishna and good morning, Isabel, Spirit Soul. Hare Krishna and good morning, Pink Yogi of Harlem and Poppy C. Hare Krishna, Rich. I believe Rich in the Barn of Devotion, if I remember correctly. And Hare Krishna and welcome Scarlett coming all the way from Sweden. Hare Krishna and welcome Venetia and Whiskey. Hare Krishna Yogeshwari. And we have Prati Chaturvedi coming in. And I believe that's everyone for now. So we are live streaming. And so welcome everyone to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, the Bhakti Center. And today we have our very own Jamuna Jaya, Devi Dasi Prabhu giving class today. Haribo, let's spotlight on her. Thank you so much. And also Hare Krishna, I forgot, to all the pujaris and everyone at the temple, Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees. Haribo, the floor is yours, Jamuna Jaya. We're live streaming.
Very well, thank you so much. And I'm glad it was you that opened up, because I know even though it's been a few days since I have the floor, let me congratulate you, Damodar Priya. And I was thinking, what a perfect name for you. It's Damodar, that sweet pastime as a child, and your Gurudev picked so well, because you were bound with love with the children in your service. So thank you so much for that warm welcome.
Thank you so much. And also, if I have my video off, it's because I'm driving, but you'll see that I will have baby Damodar as my profile picture, as well as a Bala Krishna that I just got from Rukmini Walker Prabhu. So they're going to keep you company while you give class, but I will be listening.
Beautiful. Thank you. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in this morning. I know that some people are on road trips today, going on wonderful road trips. So thank you for taking the time. And I was thinking, while I do always realize I am completely unqualified to do this, completely. And I know other people say that, but I really am. But I was thinking, especially given this very confidential nature of this pastime, I really feel so unqualified. So I beg for your blessings. I beg for all of your blessings. I beg for, especially Adipurusha's blessings. And I think that the only reason, is always when Ananda Bihari reaches out, I look at that email for a long time before I even open it, because I know what's there, and I'm frightened. But the thing is, just a few weeks ago, I was with my Gurudev at this beautiful retreat, and I was going to ask him about services. Like, Raj, sometimes they ask me to do the service, I feel unqualified, and I didn't get to ask him about it. But he was passing me, I was leaving, and I'll put on my glasses so I can show you what he said. So he looked at me, he says, Jamuna Jaya, taste and distribute. And then he lowered his glasses to look at me over the top, and he said it again. Taste and distribute. And so I said, yes, Mirage, I will do that. And so, as I am not so foolish as to not follow the instructions of my spiritual master, I am here. So though I don't sing it as beautifully as you, Adi, I will sing Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janavalava Girivardhari, Gopi Janavalava Girivardhari, Gopi Janavalava Girivardhari, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Nandana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Nandana, Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Nandana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Everybody can see that, right? Yeah. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 30, verses 3 through 7. So what I would like to do is hack my way through the Sanskrit of the first verse. And I beg your blessings and forgiveness for that. Give the translation, talk a little bit about some thoughts I have about there, and then string the rest of the verses together, and then pause and talk a little bit there. So. Gati smita preksano vasana dishu. Priyaha priyasya pratirudai murtaya tayaha. Usavaham tuvit abalastat amikaha. Navedishu Krishna viraha Vimaha. Translation and purport by the loving disciples of Srila Prabhupada. I just want to take a moment. There's something that I've really been thinking about how lucky we are that we have those disciples of Srila Prabhupada in our lives right now. There's one here right now. We have our gurus and our teachers that were in direct connection with Srila Prabhupada. At the Bhakti Center, we have walking monsters for Jamuna, who was the Sanskrit translator of Srila Prabhupada. So how wonderful is Krishna that he's given us this association. And I was thinking just this morning, we all know very well that image of Srila Prabhupada on his last days, speaking into that dictaphone. And I usually focus on Srila Prabhupada, but today I was thinking about those devotees of his, those disciples of his that were right there with their ears so open, listening to every word of their spiritual master, like soaking it in. And I was like, please let me hear that well, the words of my spiritual master. Please let me hear the words of these lovely disciples. Please let me hear the words of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna with that much attention that we see in that scene of everyone listening in. So Jai, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada, for these translations and these purports. Because the beloved gopis were absorbed in thoughts of their beloved Krishna, their bodies imitated his way of moving and smiling, his way of beholding them, his speech and his other distinctive features. Deeply immersed in thinking of him and maddened by remembering his pastimes, they declared to one another, I am Krishna. Purport. Spontaneously, the gopis began moving like Krishna. They smiled as he would smile, glanced boldly as he would, and spoke as he would. The gopis were completely absorbed in the existence of Krishna and mad with love at their sudden separation from him. And thus their dedication to him attained absolute perfection. Om Agana Timuranda Chatjanan Shalakaya. Chakshami Tamina Tasmai Shri Gurude Namaha. Vancha Kopa Churubicha Kripa Sindue, Bicha Petita Nam Pavanavyo, Vaishnaveno Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Goda Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'd like to read that again. Because the beloved gopis were absorbed in thoughts of their beloved Krishna, their bodies imitated his way of moving and smiling, his way of beholding them, his speech and other distinctive features. Deeply immersed in thinking of him and maddened by remembering his pastimes, they declared to one another, I am Krishna. Spontaneously, the gopis began moving like Krishna. They smiled as he would smile, glanced boldly as he would, and spoke as he would. The gopis were completely absorbed in the existence of Krishna and mad with love at their sudden separation from him. And thus their dedication to him attained absolute perfection. What a meditation. And it was making me think, and Ganeshan brought this up yesterday, because it was the beginning of this chapter, this meditation of what is the title of this chapter? The gopis search for Krishna. The gopis search for Krishna. It was making me think, what are we searching for? And with what intensity are we searching? We see here, let's look at some of the words that were used. Absorbed, deeply immersed, maddened. Are we searching that much for Krishna? Because Krishna is searching that much for us. There's a song that I'm just in love with right now. It's by the gospel singer CeCe Winan, and I'd heard her name, but I never really knew what she was about until this song came up on my phone a few weeks ago. And she sings about singing of the goodness of God. And at one point in the song, she says, your goodness, speaking to the divine, your goodness is running after. It's running after me. Your goodness is running after. It's running after me. Krishna is running after us. And here we see the gopis literally mad and running. They are completely absorbed. And hence, I really feel like this whole chapter and needs this verse, I could stop right here as a meditation for the rest of my life, thinking that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to be that maddened and immersed in this search for Krishna because that's what he wants. And then I was thinking about something that when I first began to hear of all of this, I heard about it, ironically, not in this physical space, but I'm at the yoga studio right now called Yoga Maya. And we used to be in the space across the street. And it was in this space that I first heard of Krishna. And it was after yoga, it was during a yoga teacher training. So I had the great pleasure of having Professor Edward Bryant, who I believe his initiated name is Adwaita, was talking about the Ashtanga Yoga text, the Yoga Sutras. And he was talking about all the different, the Yoga Sutras take on meditation, on Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, of Nirodha and stopping the mind. And Professor Bryant is a Bhakta. So he would talk about the Yoga Sutras and veer and talk about something else and talk about Krishna and come back. And his mind was always being pulled in his absorption about Krishna. But he knew he was hired that particular day to talk about the Yoga Sutras. And so after he talked about the Ashtanga system, Danyadhara Swami came in and he began to talk to us about bhakti. And he was saying, I know you guys are all here for a yoga teacher training. And Professor Bryant just talked to you about this yoga chitta vritti nirodha. And Maharaj said, I'd like to talk to you now about how these beings, these gopis, are not just the greatest devotees, but they're also actually the greatest yogis. Because if what yoga is, any of these traditional passive yoga is about stilling the mind, well, the gopis are completely absorbed. And Maharaj always says that the efficacy of a practice is its results. If any of the traditional paths of yoga that Lord Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, karma, bhakti, gyan, and ashtanga, right? What could be more efficacious than this? That their minds are so completely absorbed. And the beautiful thing, the reminder of bhakti that Maharaj, I'm going back to my first times of hearing about this, Maharaj would say, you know, other systems of yoga have you meditating on a candle, on your breath. And that's all fun and good because we need to still the mind. But in bhakti, we have something that's not a mere prop. We have Krishna, the divine personality of Godhead, who, to quote that song, is running after us, wants us. And Krishna is responsive. It's not just a prop to try to hold our mind still. And then what do you get? You get stillness of mind. In bhakti, we get more. We get the opportunity, let's read those words again, to be absorbed, deeply immersed, maddened by love. Because the focus of our meditation isn't a candle, isn't the breath. It is the divine. It is the thing that is in the taste of water, in the abilities of man, in every good possible thing. So what an amazing, amazing thing it is that bhakti gives us this opportunity to take the strands of our mind and focus on the greatest thing that there possibly can be. And the beautiful thing, it's always a reminder that great thing, that Krishna, that wonderful Krishna wants us. And that's why I love that song so much. He's running after us. And in this pastime, we see the gopis running here and there, right? They're running after Krishna, but I can't say that I always am. And that's a meditation for us to think about. When in life, what are we running towards? What are we seeking? It's often said, you seek and ye shall find, isn't it? And in lifetime, sometimes if we're just seeking the material things, we'll find them. There's plenty of them. But if we are seeking Krishna, he's there. He's there in every spirit soul. One of my favorite verses from the Bhagavad Gita 11:40 is obeisances to the front, to the side, to the front, to the back, to all sides. O unbounded power, O master of unlimited might, you are all pervading and thus you are everything. Krishna is everywhere. We just need to seek him out as the gopis are doing and allow ourselves to be, let me read those words again, absorbed, immersed, madness, maddened, and let him run after us and let us stop and let him capture us with his smiles and his glances. And I just want to bring up the verse again, and then I'll go on to the other verses. One of the things I love about this verse is their bodies were imitating his way of moving and smiling. How many references are, and I looked this up, there are like 50, 60 references of Krishna's smile. And can we imagine what that smile is like? And it's always interesting, there's two ways of smiling. There's that internal smile and the external smile. And Krishna smiles with the internal smile because the thing that's making him smile is not external. The joy is coming from him because he is the source of all love and all joy. But the one part I really loved in this verse is his way of beholding them. The way Krishna looked at them. His way of beholding them. I get emotional when I think about how Krishna looks at me. He doesn't see the flaws. He only sees his child. And that's how he sees us. And it's a beautiful meditation to remember that. How Krishna beholds us. He loves us. He loves us. And it's also a beautiful meditation. Someone said this once, I think in one of these classes. It's a great thing to endeavor to try to see as Krishna sees. To try to see others as Krishna would see them, to see them as his child, and to know, as Prabhupada said, that a devotee is no common thing. To understand that every interaction, every opportunity we have for Sangha is so, so special. So to see as Krishna sees, and to see as he beholds us. So those were some thoughts on that first verse. And now I'm going to run the other verses together to sort of continue the storyline, and there's some of them have a bit of a purport. This is 1034. Singing loudly of Krishna, they search for him throughout the Vrindavan forest like a band of mad women. That would be a great group for name for a band, the band of mad women. They even ask the trees about him, who as the super soul is present inside and outside of all created things, just like the sky. Lost, purport says, lost in the madness of love for Krishna, the gopis inquired about him from even the trees in Vrindavan. Of course, there is no actual separation from Lord Krishna, since he is the all-pervading super soul. 2 points so beautiful here. It's true. He is everywhere. He is everywhere. And how beautiful, though, is the personalism that we see in these verses. To even understand that the trees, the creepers, the rocks, the stone, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Because they are alive. They are Krishna's energy just as much as we are. And I've always really loved, and I have it here, Ramnath Swami's definition of bhakti from in his book, The Journey Within. And he talks about the earth. And he says, in other words, bhakti is expressed in a dynamic, practical way by our loving God, showing kindness to others and caring for the environment, knowing that it is God's sacred energy essential to the well-being of all life. Understanding that the earth and the creepers and the flowers and the trees isn't just something to be trampled on. It's something just to be walked by. They are us. They are part of us because they are part of Krishna. And they have personalities just like we do. And so how wonderful that these band of mad women are running around asking everything. Where is Krishna? Where is our love Krishna? Again, they are seeking with that intensity. Next verse, 1030.5. O Ashvaka tree, O Plaksa, O Naragruda, have you seen Krishna? That son of Nanda Maharaj has gone away after stealing our minds with his loving smiles and glances. There's that smile again. It's a hook. One time, and I'm not putting it well, but I heard someone say that Krishna with his curls, that the curls that touch his cheek are the door and the smile is the lock. You're like, you come in through the door to look at Krishna and his smile locks you into his heart. And I love that analogy. Going on 1036. O Kubaka tree, O Asoka, O Naga, Planaga, and Champak. Has Balaram's younger brother, whose smile removes the audacity of all proud women pass this way? Purport. As soon as the gopis saw that a particular tree would not answer them, they impatiently left it and rushed off to another to make further inquiries. Yeah, sort of like, I have no time if you're not going to answer me. I want Krishna. I'm seeking Krishna. I'm running after Krishna. 1030.7. O most kind Tulasi, to whom the feet, O Govinda, are so dear. Have you seen that infallible one walk by, wearing you and encircled by swarms of bees? Purport. The acharyas explain here that the word charanat is a term of respect, as in the expression evam vanant acharya charananaha. The bees buzzing around the garland worn by Sri Govinda were attracted by the fragrance of the tulsi trees offered to him. The gopis felt that the trees had not replied because they were male, but that Tulasi, being female, would sympathize with their plight. And so this last verse for today sent me on a wonderful deep dive into the glories of Tulasi. I have many thoughts, and I know I had talked quickly because I had a lot to say about that first verse, but I did want to take a moment to do a small personal story about my first Tulasi beads. I had been hanging around the Bhakti Center for a while, and I saw everyone wearing them, but I did not think I was worthy of them because my Sanskrit was bad, still is. I didn't know all the rules and the regulations. And I came into the second floor at the yoga studio. At that point, we were a ragtag band of people just showing up teaching yoga. And Raghunath Kapo and a friend called Chukarat was there. And they were cleaning up for a workshop. And I came in and I had my giant knapsack because I just come from my job in the hospital planning for children. And Raghu introduced me to Tukaran. And he says, you know what she does? She clowns in hospitals for sick children. And this man, Tukaran, he looked at me and goes, you do? And he goes, do you believe Krishna is God? I said, yes. He said, do you chant the Maha Mantra? I said, yes. He said, do you go to Kirtan? I said, yes. Do you read the Bhagavad Gita? I said, yes. And he said, why aren't you wearing Tulsi? And I said, ah. And he said, get this woman some Tulsi. And he pointed to Raghu. And Raghu said, I don't feel good without it around my neck. But then Raghu realized he had 2 strands on. So he took the strand of Tulsi off his neck and put it on mine. And from that day on, I know what Raghu means. I don't feel right without it. And I've never taken that. That band is long broken, you know, unfortunately, because we all know that they do, but I always have. But that feeling of welcoming of Tulasi, it's like, here you go, come and join us. And I was thinking that was a perfect introduction to what I wanted to finish with today. That Shampak Lata, she reminded us the other day that Tulasi is a manjari. She's a manjari. So she's not a sucky. She's not the gopi that's right in with the action. Where is she? She's the facilitator. She's the facilitator of the pastimes, of the Leela. She's the welcoming in. And what a wonderful thing that is. That is the das anudas. That is come in. That is, as my Guru Deva says, that is love. Because the happiness of another, the happiness of my beloved is my happiness. And so the mandra's is like, I'm not in the game, but Krishna wants you. So here, let me facilitate. Let me be the party planner. Let me be the MC to these events. And you know, we talk about wearing the verse, the Shashastakam, around our neck like a garland. And I was thinking recently, I already had this beautiful garland of this Tulasi beads. Let me remember that my secret duty is to please Krishna, like the mantra would. Let me be as welcoming as I was once garlanded, literally, and welcomed by Raghunath Kapil, who once told me when I tried to thank him years later, you cannot ever thank your teachers enough. All you can do is take what they give you and to share. And back to what Maharaj told me, taste and distribute. So I'd like to read, how am I doing? Because I always want to do the time thing, although you guys always frightens me questions. Srila Prabhupada, of course, talked a lot about Tulasi. And I have this beautiful letter that I would like to read. He said, Tulasi Devi is a pure devotee of Krishna, and she should be treated the same respect given to all of Krishna's pure devotees. Simply by worshiping her faithfully, a devotee can get himself free from all material miseries. In the Nectar Devotion, I have given 2 verses from the Skanda Purana, one of which is, Tulasi is auspicious in all respects, simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the Tulsi tree in the above mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. So from this verse, we can understand how pure the service in which Tulsi offers to Sri Krishna. So we should also endeavor to become the servant of Tulsi Devi. Tulsi Devi never goes back to Godhead. She is always with Godhead. Let me read that again. Tulsi Devi never goes back to Godhead. She is always with Godhead. She is a pure devotee, and thus she has appeared to this planet to render service to Krishna by being offered at his lotus feet in all temples throughout the world. And this is in my little prayer book that I got in Vrindavan a few years ago, and I'd like to read something else right there that the devotees have written. Srimati Tulsi Devi is the expansion of Srimat Vrinda Devi, the Vrindavan Gopi in charge of arranging the details of Radha and Krishna Leela. By her mercy, Vrinda Devi has appeared to this material world in the plant, Tulsi Devi, giving us a chance to serve her and to beg her to bestow upon us her greatest boon, love of Krishna and the privilege of devotional service to him. And so what a wonderful thing that they come at last, search. They come to this great devotee and ask what we should all ask when we come to the feet of great devotees. Please help me. Please help me serve and please Krishna. And so I'd like to end with some prayers to Tulsi. O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Sri Radha and Krishna in Braj. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestowing your mercy upon him, you make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you will also grant me a residence in the pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays, may I always swim in the love of Sri Radha and Govinda. And so what a beautiful prayer. Let us always try to swim in the love of Radha and Krishna. Let us, like the gopis, run maddened to Krishna. Because just as that beautiful song from C.C. Winan that I've been quoting, because Krishna is indeed, he's running after us. So let's slow down and let him catch us. Hare Krishna, I beg your forgiveness. I thank you for your tolerance. And if there's any corrections, comments, anything, hit me up.
Hare Krishna, Jamuna, Jaya. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class.
Oh, thank you so much. Wait, let me put my glasses on. Who's over there? Oh, hey.
Dumbledore is driving still, so I just jumped in. Oh, and Bihar, you're here. Do you want to take over for the closing? Oh, he's muted. Okay, I got you. No worries. So,
Yeah.
Jamuna, thank you so much for such a wonderful class. You have done Guru Dev so proudly today. Your beginning with Taste and Distribute was spectacular because it really foreshadowed the whole class. I really appreciate the taste that you distributed to me this morning. Just when I was younger, I would try to practice asana yoga, and I was very, very impatient. It was always very difficult. But knowing that in bhakti yoga, Krishna is coming toward me as the object of my meditation makes it so much easier and so much more pleasurable. So I really appreciate that. And thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask away.
Thank you so much. I love it's a tag team hosting. People are driving, people are coming in. It's so wonderful. Thank you. You guys be safe in your driving. Can I unpin myself?
Jamuna Jaya, while I'm driving, can Krishna still catch me?
Yeah, but yeah, only if you're not speeding. so okay. do the speed limit. Do the speed limit so Krishna can catch you. Okay.
Okay.
I have a tendency to drive too fast.
Wonderful class, Jamuna Jaya.
Thank you.
Jamuna Jaya, wonderful class. I really appreciate your Jaya Radha Madhava. We were listening, we were going through the tunnel, and Chinmay Radha says, "This is New York." Enthusiastically and so happily. Thank you, Jamuna Jaya.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the New York beat. You can take the kid out of the city. You can't take the city out of the kid, I guess. Anyone else? Adi, do you have any corrections for me? Any thoughts? Please speak. I think you're still muted, Adi. Uh-oh. Still muted. Oh, he might even be frozen. Uh-oh. Oh no. Adi, you frozen? Can you hear? I see fingers coming close to, there he is. Stay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Adi.
Okay, wonderful class. My goodness, we love you. I want to become like you when I grow up, for sure. Your spiritual master's grace is pouring through you. And one of the most profound things you said, of course, everything you said was perfect and ecstatic. My beloved's happiness is my happiness, you know, and the gopis were absorbed in Krishna, and then we know that to be absorbed in Krishna is to be absorbed in pleasing Krishna. And Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than one who gives this to someone else. So that's our real absorption. We had a pastime with Rameshwara Prabhu, who was he was giving class here at the Bhakti Center. I think I told this before. And then he came over to, walking with me over to the kitchen we use for feeding Krishna's prasad distribution for the homeless. He wanted to see the new kitchen. So he was in there, and there was a book in there, Coming Back. You've seen that book?
No.
Coming Back. There's an old man going out the door and a little kid coming in the door. You never saw the cover of that book?
Yes, now, yeah.
Information. So I showed him that we've been distributing a lot of these. He said, oh, I wrote this book. And he was like looking through the book. And then we were leaving the kitchen, and I gave him one of those books. He said, why are you giving me this book? Because in this class, he was talking about being absorbed. We have to be absorbed in book distribution because that was a service Prabhupada gave me, so I try to be absorbed in it, you know. So he said, why are you giving me this book? I said, well, you know, give it to someone else. So we walked out, and he's like, he just had a hip replaced. The two of us were toddling along, you know, practically holding each other up to walk from the Bhakti Center to the kitchen. And then when we were walking out, we saw this young man sorting out the garbage in a nearby building. So I said to him, good morning. I said, I see you always do this very carefully. It's wonderful to see how you do this with a good heart. And Rameshwar said, it's your consciousness that you're doing it with the good consciousness. And then we walked a few steps away, and Rameshwar, who can hardly walk, all of a sudden he spun around like a pirouette, like a figure skater or a ballerina, and he went, ooh, ooh! I thought he was having a heart attack or something, and he went running back to this boy sorting the garbage, and he pulled out the book, and he grabbed the guy's hands with both his hands. He said, please, we want you to take this book. Please take this book. This is a wonderful book. This will help you to fill your life with the love of God and service to God. It's very valuable. Please accept this. It was just so wonderful the way he gave the guy the book. And he was like, you know, he was talking about being absorbed in book distribution. And then he had the book in his hand, and we passed somebody, and he didn't give him the book. And then just a few steps later, he went, ooh, ooh! And he went running back like it was an emergency, you know. So this is pleasing to Krishna, that we give Krishna consciousness to others. And that's an interesting, you mentioned that, where the happiness of my beloved is my happiness. So we want to serve Krishna, not just enjoy Krishna. And that's very pleasing to Krishna, and we'll be satisfied. Anyway, you already said this perfectly and wonderfully. We're just reflecting and elaborating a little bit. Well, glory to Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Adi. How really beautiful. I like that. Ooh, ooh. That's mad and absorbed. I'm New York. I'm absorbed.
Absorbed.
I'm absorbed. That's what I'm absorbed. Oh, Christine, I see you have your hand up. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Jamuna, Jaya. Thank you so much for this class today. I've never heard you speak before, and I really enjoyed it. I think you're a very powerful speaker, and your Jaya Radha Madhava was so energizing. It was very good. I really like it. I just wanted to come on and give you your flowers because, you know, there's so many things you hit on that hit for me. Like, I remember my first Tulsi beads that I got, and how I didn't feel like even sometimes I still take them off because I don't feel like, you know, I should be wearing them sometimes. But I there was so many visuals that you gave me, just like, you know, how Krishna is our, if we see it in that relationship, Krishna is our spiritual father, and he will always accept us and love us, like no matter what. And that was like a good visual for me this morning. And how, you know, even the gopis, their bhakti is so fixed that they were undisturbed by when they were asking the trees and some weren't responding, they just kept going. They were so centered and so fixed. They weren't getting distracted. They weren't thinking, you know, the monkey mind wasn't going, you know. And it's just, there's so many visuals there for me today to hold on to as I do my japa and as I connect with Tulsi Devi and Vrinda Devi. Thank you so much for all the visuals. It really helps like deepen with my heart, because I have bhakti in my heart, but sometimes it's, you know, it's like there's an internal world and there's an external world, and it kind of has to come together. And so thank you for bridging that for me today, Jamuna Jaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I thank you for your kind words. It wasn't me that did it. It was Krishna. It is this is the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. I was simply the mouthpiece on this particular day, and was encouraged by my Guru Dev. But yeah, that's, Christina, the struggle is real, as they say. The struggle is real. And if as many, you know, images, whatever you can take, and I do, I love that image of him running after me. And I'm like, slow down, kiddo, slow down and let him catch me, slow down. Krishna Jaya, Prabhu. We have a minute left.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. And then the point you said, I mean, you're describing the gopis, they didn't have that much patience, you know, the one tree to another tree. Please tell me, you know, or we are quickly leaving. And then in Nectar of Instruction, the first, you know, it said, Utsaha, Nischaya, Dhairya. You should have enthusiasm, determination, and patience. And then gopis, the exalted devotees, they are exhibiting no patience. I mean, you see how, you know, from the sadhaka stage to the exalted stage, things change. And then, you know, ultimately, in the search for Krishna, the love for Krishna makes us, you know, everything topsy-turvy. Krishna breaks our all, you know, principles and then everything. And then he makes us mad, you know, so that's what. And then the other point you said is like, slow down and let Krishna catch you. You know, so people run after Krishna, but you know, just relax and then Krishna will definitely be with you. Thank you so much for these points, Prabhu. You know, and as usual, your Jaya Radha Madhava, it is so much. You said taste and distribute, and we are able to see you have that taste, and then you are in the distributing mode. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna Jaya, Prabhu. Thank you. You guys are all too kind. Yeah, that's such a good point, though. Topsy-turvy, that Krishna makes things like literally when he turns night into day and the Mahabharata, surrender all dharma, like kick out the rules and just come to me. Oh, here she is. We're seeing Tulsi Devi. Jai. Oh, and Darshan. Hare Krishna.
Mandar Ato Ikamania Vishesha Tokavan Govinda Adipurusha Anjali Yasya Takalen Via Imanti Asyanti Vanti Kayanti Virantanati Datimaya Tadu Kala Vipahatya Govinda Adipurusha Amaham Kami Govinda. Today, they're very red.
Who's here to close it out is Baller.
Take us home, Jamuna Jaya.
All right. Yes, indeed. Let our bhakti take us home. But remember, who are we closing up there on the back? Remember, I'll just leave you with these words to the furthermore of this song, and I will be headed to the Bhakti Center in 2 seconds, where I'll spend the rest of the day actually. But this song says, "I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head down, I will sing of the goodness of God." Sing of the goodness of God today. Hare Krishna, thank you for this privilege.
Thank you, Jamuna Jaya. Wonderful class. We were all at some point, and we still are sometimes, going through the garbage of the material world. And then somebody, a devotee, rushes towards us, grabs our hands, and shares with us this absorption in Krishna. So we're all become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Jamuna Jaya. Wonderful class.
Thank
And
you.
thanks everyone for participating. And yeah, come again tomorrow. We love you dearly. Let Krishna catch you. All right. Did I get it right, Jamuna Jaya?
Yeah, let Krishna catch you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, now we tap N. Top right corner. Top right corner.